All right, Unit 3, Lesson 9. Here we go. As you guys can see here, these challenge questions look just like yesterday's challenge questions, and that wasn't on accident. The hope is that you guys are learning each day. You're getting stronger each day. You put in the effort, and there's no reason why that's not happening, because even if this is confusing for you, it should be less confusing each day. So in order to really be able to build, I just have the same types of questions with barely different numbers today. All right. So hopefully you're trying really hard on these challenge questions, and then hopefully you're trying even harder watching me go over the challenge questions. The yellow, do not worry about the yellow. It's just for my folks that are like, Mr. Stahl, this is easy. Give me something more to do. It's a challenge. It's a puzzle. So don't freak out about Mr. Yellow down there. Okay. Just focus on the blue squares. Let's go into, let me throw my face up there. First thing that we're going to do is turn this improper fraction turn this mixed number into an improper fraction. So you have 3 wholes, and then you have 2/3 of a whole. So each whole is worth how many thirds? 3/3. 3/3 are in each hole. So you have 1 hole, 3/3. 2 holes, 6/3. 3 holes, 9/3. And then, is that all you have is 9/3? No, that's just 3. You also have 2/3. So 9 plus 2. Let me show you like this. Remember, the way that we figure this out, you have a whole number, a numerator, and a denominator. And the way you could turn it into a mixed number is on the top, you find the top number by multiplying the denominator times the whole number, and then you add the numerator. And then keep the denominator the same. So, if that's confusing, I'm sorry. Some people love that formula, other people hate it. Let's just see what this means. 3 wholes and 2/3. Inside of the holes, we have a whole bunch of 3/3 trapped. We have 1, 2, 3 of them. So 3 times 3 is 9. So 3 wholes is equal to 9/3. And we don't just have 3 holes, we also have 2/3. So 9 plus 2 is 11. Keep the name the same, answer's 11/3. So 3 and 2/3 is the same as 11/3. Okay? That's your first step when you actually multiply. So in the next one, I actually have you multiplying 3 and 2/3, and you are multiplying 3/5. When you multiply these, the first thing you absolutely have to do is you have to turn this into that improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. Why do you have to do that, Mr. Stahl? Because the only way to multiply fractions is by making it just a numerator denominator. And then you have 3/5. 11 times 3 is 33. 5 times 3 is 15. Whoa, Mr. Stahl, time out. You told me that I'm allowed to reduce before multiplying. Remember, you're like, oh, you have a math belt. And because you have the math belt, you could take this out and you could throw reducing first. You're right. That is an option. Do you see any 2 numbers that I can reduce? Yes. The 3s. So if you count by 3s, this would turn into a 1. This would turn into a 1. So you have a new 11/1 times 1/5. That's a little easier. It's 11/5. But am I done here? No. Am I done here? No. I have to pull out as many as I can. So how many 5/5 are hidden with 11? 2. And then if you had 11, 2 wholes is 10/5. So there's still 1/5 left. So that answers 2 and 1/5. Well, Mr. Stahl, what if I didn't do that? What if I'm up here? Okay, then you have 15 and 15 hidden there. That's 30, right? So there's still 3/15 left over. And 3/15, like this. And 3/15 is not simplified because 3/15, there's a 3 and 3. Cut them both down by 3s. How many 3s make 3? 1. How many 3s make 15? 5. So that answer as well is 2 and 1/5. So it doesn't matter which route you go. Either way, it is 2 and 1/5. Now the last one we're going to look at there is simplify. So we have 8/24. Let's simplify. And the way that I like to simplify this one is they're both even. Whenever they're even, don't even waste your time staring at those big numbers. Cut them in half. Oh, they're still even. Cut those in half. Mr. They're still even. Okay, cut those in half. Ta-da! That's your simplified answer. Now, but Mr. Stahl, what if instead I looked at it and I'm like, oh man, I can count by 8s for both of them. You're right. You could have skipped a bunch of steps. How many 8s are in 8? 1. How many 8s are in 24? 3, which is the same answer. There's a whole bunch of ways to get that same exact answer, and I don't care which one you use. You could have counted by 4s, and then you would have gotten 2. And how many 4s are in 24? 6. Well, what's 2 6? Oh, it's not completely simplified yet. You can take 2s out. How many 2s are in 2? 1. How many 2s are in 6? 3. Hold on. It's another way to get 1/3? Yeah, it doesn't matter which way you go. That is simplified to 1/3. What about 20/35? Ooh, they're not both even, so I can't cut them in half. But if this ends in a 0 and this ends in a 5, we know that you can count by 5s for both of them. So if I use $5 bills, how many $5 bills are in 20? 4. How many $5 bills are in 35? 7. 4 7ths cannot get reduced anymore. So 4 7ths is equal to 20/35. And then what about 14/28? Well, they're even. Cut it, cut it. 7/14. Done. I'm kidding, I'm not done yet. They're not even. However, I can count by 7s and I can count by 7s. How many 7s are in 7? 1. How many 7s are in 14? 2. Oh my gosh, that's equal to a half. I hope simplifying's getting a little easier for you. Okay, that's the hope. And honestly, from teaching for 10 years now, if you are putting in the work, I'm not saying you totally get it yet, like you're a mastermind at it, but I'm saying if you're putting in the work and you're not getting frustrated, it's getting a little bit easier each time. You're understanding it a little bit more each time, and that is the goal, okay? And guess what? Tomorrow, we're going to go over it again. So just get a little bit closer to indubitably, okay? All right, let's move on. I am not going over this answer because I don't want to confuse people. So the answer is, that's not the answer. The answer is 8. She's 8 years old, okay? Yeah, I don't want to confuse you guys. If you got 8, you're a rock star. That was a hard question again. Remember, these are made as puzzles. That's it. So don't freak out if you got it wrong, but she's 8 years old. All right, let's look here. Let's pretend that, so the goal here, let me just explain what the goal is. The goal is to try to figure out what happens when an amount gets multiplied by a different amount. So let's just pretend we're 1/2. Hi, I'm 1/2, and I'm going to get multiplied. All right, let's any fraction. Let's pretend we're 1/4 instead. You know what? Let's pretend we're 1/8 instead, because it's any fraction. Let's just pretend we're any fraction. All right, let's pretend we're 1/5. You know what? Let me make this easier. Instead of being a fraction, let's just say it's me. Hi guys. Oh. I am getting multiplied. I am anything in the world, any number, because it's always true. I am getting multiplied by a number bigger than 1. What's going to happen to me? I could be any of those before. I could be 1/8, 1/4, 1/2, 1 whatever. I could be anything. What's going to happen if I get multiplied by a number bigger than 1? Am I going to get bigger? Am I going to get smaller? Am I going to stay the same? Let's pretend I'm 1/4, and let's pretend I'm getting multiplied by 2. Then it's 2/4. So what happened to me? I got bigger. What happens to anything when it gets multiplied by a number bigger than 1? It gets bigger. Why? Because you're taking more than one of it. So it will always get bigger. Okay? Ooh, what about if I am 1/2? No, I'm 1/8. I'm anything. I'm literally anything. I'm me. Okay? I am me. I'm any amount. I represent any amount in the world. I am getting multiplied by a number smaller than 1. What's going to happen to me? So I'm getting multiplied by a fraction. Anything smaller than 1, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to shrink. I'm going to get tiny. I can't even see myself anymore. Because no matter what I am, no matter what the amount is, it could be barely smaller than 1. It's still, whatever I was, I'm still going to get a tiny bit smaller. Okay? You could be 999 thousandths, which means you're 1/1000th smaller than 1. If you're getting multiplied by that, you're going to shrink barely because you're taking a fraction of what you had. So if a fraction gets multiplied by any fraction of 1, the amounts get smaller. No, so it's not of. If you are a fraction, you're getting multiplied by anything smaller than 1, you will get smaller. If you're any number and you get multiplied by something smaller than 1, you get smaller. If you're anything and you're getting multiplied by a number bigger than 1, you will grow. You will get larger. No matter what you are or what you were, you will get bigger. So let's understand this. Let's say the red is you. So let's look at number 1. You should have your book open. You're on page 107. Here we go. You are 3/4. You are getting multiplied by 2/5. So you are finding 2/5 of yourself. You are 3/4. What's going to happen to your answer? Are you going to get bigger or smaller? Well, that answer is you are going to get larger. So what's going to happen if you are 3/4, you're getting multiplied by 2/5, is your answer going to get bigger or smaller? Well, if you're taking 2/5 of 3/4, then you're starting with 3/4 and you're saying, I only want 2/5 of this. So I am 3/4, and I'm saying, yeah, I only want about 2/5 of this. So when you take 2/5 of it, which that's probably less than 2/5, you're only getting a fraction of what you were. So therefore, the answer is going to be, sorry, so you are the red number. The answer is going to be smaller than whatever you were because you're taking a fraction of yourself. And then to find that answer, you take 2/5, you multiply it by 3/4, you multiply across, you get 6/20. But 6/20 is not simplified yet. They're both even. Cut them in half. 3/10, right? 3/10 is simplified, answer's 3/10, and 3/10 is smaller than the 2/5 that you started with. Let's go to number 3. Let's get this guy's face out of the way. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is you are 1 3/7. You're getting multiplied by 3/4. I lied. You are 3/4. We're going to focus like we are 3/4, and we're going to get multiplied by 1 3/7. So why are we 3/4? Just because we're comparing the answer to 3/4. That's the only reason. So we're saying, hey, 1 3/7 times 3/4. What's going to happen to 3/4? Will it get larger or smaller? Well, 3/4 will get bigger. The answer will get bigger because you are getting more than 1 of 3/4, right? It's getting multiplied by 1 3/7. So therefore, the answer is larger. Let's find the answer, shall we? Well, 1 3/7, we got to turn that into an improper fraction. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. So 1 3/7 is 10/7. So that's why I put 10/7 there. And then we're going to multiply that by 3/4. We can multiply across, or we can reduce first. If we reduce, we could say that 10 turns into a 5, cut it in half, but you have to cut the 4 in half, turns into a 2. 5 times 3 is 15, 7 times 2 is 14. You get 15 14ths, which is improper. So how many 14ths can you pull out? 1. What's left over? 1. So the answer is 1 and 1/14. Remember, if you ever feel like I'm going too fast, you could pause, you could rewind, you could re-listen to me. I think there's even an option where you could slow down how fast I talk in the speed, but that might be weird. All right, well, now let's go to 7. Remember, I'm doing all the odds now, and we'll do the evens during our Zoom. Let's pretend we are 5. Why are we 5? Because it's red. Why is it red? Because right here we're comparing. So this just means answer. It's a fancy way to say, is the answer bigger or smaller than 5? Well, if we have 1 1/10 and we're getting multiplied by 5, it's the same thing as 5 getting multiplied by 1 1/10. So if we're 5, we're getting multiplied by a number bigger than 1. So we, as an answer, will get bigger than the 5, right? Let me use my handy dandy pen skills. The answer will be larger than 5. So let's come up with that answer. Okay. Turn 5 into 5/1. So let's go 1 1/10, which is 1 1/10 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So we have 11/10. We are going to take 11/10 and we're going to multiply it by 5, which 5 is 5/1. 11 times 5 is 55. 10 times 1 is 10. You can pull out 5 whole groups. There's 5/10 left over. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 5, and there's still 5 left over. And this could be simplified to 5.5. If you chose to go this route, cut that. This could get reduced to 1. This could get reduced to 2 because you can count by 5s. 11 times 1 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. How many 2s are in 11? 5. What's left over? 1/2. Different way to get that same answer. So that answer is 5.5. 5.5. I'll go over here. Ooh, this is a fancy one. 10/10. 5 is getting multiplied by 10/10. What is 10/10? 1. Some of your minds are going to get blown right now. 5 is getting multiplied by 1. What happens to it? It stays the same. Anything gets multiplied by 1 or anything equal to 1, it stays the same. It turns into 50 tenths. 10/10 times 50, times 5 equals 50 tenths. What is 50 tenths? 5. What is 5? It's exactly what it was. So 5 is equal to 5. X equals 5. This is why I said your mind was going to get blown. Remember when we used to have like 1/2 plus 1/4, and we want to change it into fourths, and we say let's multiply it by 2, and then do it to the bottom, do it to the top, to find the equal fraction? You are actually right here. Let me move you away from the glare, my friend. You are actually right here multiplying it by 2/2. So every time we came up with an equivalent fraction, we were multiplying it by 1 whole every time. Whatever you do to the bottom, do to the top, you're multiplying it by 1 whole. You just have it as a fraction. That's why it was always equal. Let's look at number 5. Okay, you are 2.5, it looks like. You're getting multiplied by a number bigger than 1. Therefore, your answer, which is x, is going to be bigger than what you were. Let's come up with an answer. We have 2 2/3, 6. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2 is 8. So that's equal to 8/3. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. That's equal to 5/2. We can multiply across. 8 times 5 is 40. 3 times 2 is 6, so it's 46. But we can even simplify that first if we'd like. We could have simplified here or reduced here if we wanted to, or we could reduce here. 46, 20/3. Or you could literally pull out 6, 12, 8. You could pull out bunches of 6, right? You can pull out 6 sixes, which would be 36. There's still 4 left over. So that's how you can get that answer here. Or you could take it out right here, right? What's 6 times 3? 8. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. You could pull out 6 whole groups. And then what's left over? 2, right? Because 18, 19, 20. So it's 6 and 2/3. Or right here, it would be 6 and 4/6, which then that simplifies to 6 and 2/3 as well. Here it says multiply any number by a factor equal to 1, gives a product. All you have to do here is say an equal answer, equal product, n equals n, anything like that. It stays the same, right? Stays the same. So just put equals here. Number 13, it says, okay, multiply anything by 1 to find an equal fraction. So basically, this is the same thing you guys did back in unit whatever, unit 1, really early on, is multiply by anything equal to 1 to find an equivalent fraction. So I chose an easy one of 8. But in all reality, you can do any number in the world, call it n, over that exact same number, will find an equal fraction. So how many options are there here? Infinite. You could find infinite equivalent fractions. It just depends which number you chose to put on the top and bottom. They have to be the same. So another easy option is just putting zeros. You could have said 40 50ths because that's equal, right? Let's do that here. 50 80ths. So what did we multiply by? We multiplied by 10 over 10. A rectangle has a length of 3 1/4 feet and a width of 1 1/3 feet. So 3 1/4, 1 1/3. Is the area bigger or smaller than 3 1/4? Well, this is getting multiplied by a number bigger than 1, so that's going to find your area. So the area is going to be bigger. So you can put bigger. And that says, well, what is it? Bigger or greater? What is the area of the triangle? Well, let's multiply those babies out then, shall we? 3 1/4. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13/4. And then 1 1/3, 3, 4, so it's 4/3. Can I simplify anywhere? Sure you can. You could turn those both into 1s. 13 times 1 is 13. 3 times 1 is 3. How many 3s are in 13? 3, 6, 9, 12. Is there any left over? Sure there is. There's 1/3 left over. So that answer is 4 1/3. And its area, so we will realize that it should be square feet. So you can put 4 1/3 square feet. All right, we'll do the check for understanding together. And I'll see you at your live Zoom. All right, thank you very much, guys.